Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. My name's Mace. I'm coming to you from Canada, British Columbia, to be specific. Today's video, Tariffs Explained to MAGA by a professional importer / exporter. So, tariffs are being explained to a MAGA by George Costanza. Art Vandelay, of course. If you got that reference, you're a legend. It's not even that much of a deep cut, really, now that I think about it. Yeah, tariffs are paid by the import country, like the importer of record. They're the ones that are paying the tariffs. I still don't have like 100% full grasp on the economics of the entire thing. Obviously, that disincentivizes the importer from importing products from, say, Canada. Like, for a very simplified explanation, like if you're getting steel from Canada, but there's a 35% tariff, you might get steel from another country which has a 20% tariff or a 10% tariff. Trump's obviously been unhinged, very unpredictable, and he switches his mind day by day. We all know that his word is absolutely worthless. You can't trust a word the guy says. He goes back on his word. You know, he makes deals. He goes back on the deal that he signed with Canada the last time that he was in office. So he's just a completely untrustworthy individual, narcissist, authoritarian, and yeah, it's just been pretty useless so far. But explaining that to MAGAs is not necessarily super easy. Let's get into this and see how the Trump supporter does when he gets told that it's the Americans, you know, they're going to get passed on these extra prices when these tariffs are paid, and they just get passed on to the American consumers. Not to mention the job losses for Americans with all of Trump's policies that people around the world have been seeing, not just when it comes to tourism, but people just not wanting to work with the states. You want to isolate, you want to be America first, well, you're going to be America alone. Let's go.
Who pays the tariffs?
The Chinese government pays the tariff.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. The government that is manufacturing that product, I just want it to be even. Instead of us paying 400% of tariffs.
He's been listening to Trump too much.
I don't want to.
I'm an importer and an exporter
Art Vandelay.
for 20 years.
Okay.
When a product comes into the U.S., there's something called a tariff sheet.
Okay.
Nice. Oh, man.
Look what Trump is talking about. He's
Chinese
eliminating the
government's
income
gonna pay
tax and
for
possibly going through tariffs. And people are so quick to...
Who pays the tariffs?
What?
Who pays the tariffs?
Foreign countries pay the tariffs.
Okay.
And let's talk about
No,
Ukraine.
wait, we're talking about tariffs. So the product comes in from China, it gets on a ship,
Right.
and then it comes in, and I'm the American manufacturer. I'm going to use that stuff from China. Who paid the tariff on it?
The Chinese government pays the tariff.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. You're thinking because you're paying more for that product. Because the Chinese product...
It's going to be more expensive. It is.
But look what's happening now, guys. You go to Europe. I travel to China often. I travel to Europe often. You don't see like a Buick in China, but you see these you see these BMWs, Audi, and all that. Why do you think?
I really need you to understand is who
fault is
is
that?
paying the tariff?
The government that is manufacturing that product is all we're saying is this. Look, I just want it to be even. Instead of us paying 400% of tariffs.
How you doing?
Hey, good. I don't want.
I'm an importer and an exporter for 20 years.
Okay.
The funny part is, like, American conservatism always spouts off about free trade and laissez-faire, and, you know, we need to have open markets, free markets, and then they just want mutually assured destruction, and they go along with whatever Trump says because everybody in his sphere, the Trumposphere, it's all sycophants in a giant mega echo chamber.
When a product comes into the U.S., there's something called a tariff sheet.
Okay.
I, as the buyer of that product, follow U.S. law and pay the tariff. Some goods are tariff-free. But when I pay that tariff, I'm an American citizen, I'm an American taxpayer, right? That tariff might be 1%, it might be 7%, it might be 14%.
I mean, 35%.
That means I'm a U.S. company. I pay that tariff to the U.S. government, and that increase in the cost of the product, I then sell to you for a higher price because I've got to cover that tariff.
Then what about?
There is
then
no.
What do you say? Then what do you say to the Europeans who allow us to not charge us as much tariffs as when our tariffs are higher when they go overseas as opposed to theirs coming here.
So tariffs are never a zero-sum game. Tariffs are a tool. So, for example, you might say, you want to sell us your beans, right?
Yeah.
We are going to give you a low tariff if you buy our corn, right? But
you can see it in the nuance of his speech. He's like, how do I explain this to a 5-year-old?
Cost of the tariff is ultimately always borne by the consumer. The end consumer always pays the tariff.
But then don't you think at the end of the day there may be more competition within the market of the U.S. government if not only now there's not the cheap Chinese product coming in, but you also now have the American manufacturing.
You're confusing the question. This is not a question of competition. The point we're discussing is who bears the cost of the tariff.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you if it's good policy for the U.S. government to tax beans and for the Chinese government to tariff corn. I don't know if there's any you can't compare those. That's beyond my expertise. But what I can absolutely assure you on my eyes is that a product that comes into the US is paid for by a US company, and the increased cost of that is borne by all of us.
I can't.
That
counter,
has never.
I can't counter. I am
an importer and exporter.
I can't counter. I don't have the information. You seemed pretty confident a couple minutes ago, telling people about this.
I do it for a living.
Okay.
I have a tariff sheet that's bigger than 500 Bibles.
Then what's the alternative? If at one point in our history, in our country's history, it was tariffs that paid for our economy.
Tariffs don't pay for your economy.
But they did. We didn't have income taxes before. Before income taxes,
the
country survived by tariffs.
In the 19th
That was before
century,
we had municipal infrastructure.
Correct.
I mean, we did not have.
And also too of like, well, the competition argument that American products are going to be in the marketplace a little more is, I think, kind of bullshit, because the reason we get so much from China is because their labor laws are so poor and they can afford to pay people like shit for shit quality products. Correct. If you want American goods in circulation, they're already going to cost more because we have better labor laws and we take care of our workers. So if you want American products in the marketplace made cheaper through tariffs, you're going to have to really screw American workers, pay them less, give them less benefits, no health care. Like, it's not a
That sounds exactly like something Trump would want.
good idea to have, 100% American-made products, because it'll be so expensive. And you're already complaining about high prices.
I don't think the effort is suggesting that it's only 100%. What they're saying is make it a even playing field. My understanding is that the tariff is lopsided to benefit other countries as opposed to ours. The suggestion is just to bring it up to make it equal. That's it.
You're framing this in a way that doesn't make any sense. Tariffs are not about equalization, right? They're about access to the marketplace.
Okay.
So you cannot say, like, for example, a company in the US may feel that a certain technology from a different country is advantageous. They can sell it here at a profit, right? That doesn't mean that the US government or some Chinese or German or Australian company has some kind of like equalization calculus that they're engaging. Oh, because we're sending our products there, therefore it's good that we're bringing it. That's not how tariffs work. That's not how tariffs work.
But the trade relationship between two countries, tariffs come into play with the trade relationships between countries.
That's why you have free trade agreements, right? But it doesn't mean that even within the...
Or you just tear up free trade agreements that you yourself signed. I don't know.
Free trade agreement, there are not tariffs. There are multiple millions of tariff agreements between countries. The European Union may have free trade agreements within it, but there are products that go out that are still tariffed.
Yes.
But it's still the consumer. But the consumer, I absolutely assure you, I do this for a living. The consumer bears the cost. Now, it may be that an imported product, even with a tariff, supplants a domestic product. But you don't want that, because that's going to affect American jobs. If there's one thing you should take away from this extended conversation, is you are always paying the tariff. Me, you, everyone here is always paying the tariff.
Fair enough.
There is no
mutually
economic
assured
reality in contradiction to that.
Okay, you know what? I'm not educated in that. Fair enough.
Like you said, though, like tariffs are a tool. They're usually to somewhat protect, I think, a certain industry. Like I said, I'm certainly not an expert. I'm not going to speak on it too much, but it is interesting seeing the mega voter. We haven't actually heard that I assume he's a mega voter because he's all on board for the tariffs and he's trying to defend the great orange one. But
I'm willing. Yeah, okay.
I really love your work, man.
All right,
Follow
thank you.
all socials. It's great to meet you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
man.
Have a good
Cheers.
day.
It was a pleasure.
It's good.
It was a pleasure, man.
Thank you.
Can I get a
Thank you.
photo, man?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so
I
much.
didn't kill
No,
the
no, no, no. You that was a fucking great video.
tariff sheet.
It is the best. It is always.
To give the quote unquote MAGA voter credit, he was friendly, personable, willing to challenge his beliefs, and he didn't just bury his head in the sand and start throwing around straw man arguments or pejoratives. So credit to him for that. Seems like a decent fellow, just misled in his a little education, right? A little. That's what we want: dialogue between people, debates, because the vast majority of Americans are great people, and I never want anybody to think, especially any Americans watching, that people around the world believe that it's all of Americans, and it's certainly not. And there is a difference between stupidity and being uneducated, right? There's certainly a difference between that. However, there may be some Venn diagrams to to correlate some of that, but yeah. All right. See you guys.